Hello and welcome to another walkthrough of our Postgres. We're now in week 3 material, and the thing that's going to be the focus of week 3, which I grab a whole bunch of ideas and I call them techniques, is a simple 3-table many-to-many situation. We're going to have users and posts and comments, and the comment is effectively a many-to-many join table, except it has very important information that's stored at that connection in the content, right? So created at the content, there's all kinds of stuff here. A post belongs to a user, so we have a foreign key account ID. And so away we go. So let's go ahead and build these tables. Just copy them all, comments and all, and post them into, there we go. Good thing I've got no typographical errors. If you see some of my slides that say timestamp Z, that was a common typo that I made. So you might want to, anytime you see timestamp Z, turn it into timestamp TZ. Sorry about that mistake. And so now we have this all set up. Now, let's make this favorites also. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the alter tables. So one of the cool things about database, and usually it's not right after you create it where you notice you've made a mistake, but we're going to fix a couple of mistakes. So if you look at the post table, you see that I made content varchar 1024. I'm in a meeting and someone says, whoa, we're going to have posts that are more than 1,000 characters. So I'm like, oh, I better fix that. Alter table, post, alter column, content type text. So what we're doing is we're changing a table post, we're altering a column, alter column, the name of the column is content, and the new type is text. Now, the key is this is also going to convert live during the database if there is already data. And so alter table is a very powerful thing. We can get rid of a column, alter table fav drop column oops, and so that gets rid of a column. And we can add another column, add a column, alter table fav, add column how much integer. And so that adds a column. So we're able to play with the schema of these tables. The schema is very constraining on purpose. That's just how databases work, but we get to change the schema. And automatic conversion. You can convert something from a integer to a string or a string to an integer. If you do an alter table that converts from a string to an integer, it's going to try to convert it, and it will have trouble if there's strings in there that aren't legitimate integers, but you'd be surprised at how much you can do, and you can do it while the database is running and while actually transactions are happening, as long as you don't break the software. So if you drop a column the software is looking for, then all the select statements will just like blow up in the next moment. But you can alter these tables, so that's pretty cool. So so next thing I want to do is I want to load a bit of data. And so you can make SQL commands living in, you see me just copying and pasting this stuff, but you can also do this by copying and by putting it all in a file and then running the file. So if I look at this file, O3 techniques load SQL, the one thing I'm doing is I'm delete from account. Remember how a delete statement works. It's delete all records. And this alter sequence, this basically restarts the serial numbers, so I clear them all out. This you wouldn't do in a live running database. I'm just doing this so I can do it over and over and over again. And then I'm going to do some insert statements, fill some stuff up, just sort of to save it. Now, you need to figure out how to get this in here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a terminal, and I am in that same directory. I could download that file and I could upload that file, but the easiest thing to do is do what's called a wget. So wget actually retrieves a file using HTTP and then stores it in the local directory. And I am going to grab this. Actually, that's not quite going to work because I don't have the hang on a sec, I don't have it up on its ultimate final. This domain name is not final yet, so it's going to have to come from here. Okay, so if I do an ls-l, you see that I have this file here, and if I do a nano of O3 techniques, load SQL, there we go. And Control X gets me out of that. So I've got that file loaded. So that means that I can go back here in this same place and I can simply say read this file. So anything that says backslash I, and we'll have other things like, you know, backslash D plus, those are commands to the Postgres client, the PSQL client that you're using. They're not actual SQL. And so if you're using MySQL or Oracle, it's like D plus Fab, there's a whole different name for that. And so those are non-standard across databases. Alter table is pretty standard across databases, but certainly create table is pretty standard with a few. Select is pretty standard. But I'm going to use this backslash I, and that is going to load a file from this shell that I'm working at inside of my Jupyter notebook, and I copy that file there, and it's going to load it, and it ran all of those commands. See how cool that is? So now I can say select star from post, and there they are. So all those things were loaded up quite nicely, and that just saves me some time. Okay, so I'm going to stop now, and I'll pick this up a bit later with this same database.